Yo, what up you guys, it's JD Reviews here, back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the NECA King Kong. I found this at my local Target in Emeryville, California. So I'm super excited to take a look at this figure. Been really waiting to find this on the shelves, and I was super excited to find this actually this morning. So let's take a closer look at that packaging, and then we'll take a closer look at King Kong himself. So on the front of the packaging, we have this nice product shot of King Kong with the nice screaming head and the King Kong text at the bottom. Now, this figure is not based on any specific King Kong from any movies. I'm pretty sure the King Kong domain is open to the public, but I think if NECA was to create a King Kong on the Skull Island version, they would possibly need to go through some licensing agreements of some sort. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this King Kong is just based on their own rendition and sculpt of him. So that's pretty cool. So if we open up the flap right here on the front, we have a nice ultimate box style that they usually do on their NECA Predators and some of their horror figures, but it has a nice window with a nice image of King Kong right here on the inside. And I took my figure out of the box already, but that's what he'll look like when you see him on the shelf. Turn the box to the side, you have a nice picture of King Kong, another product shot of him with the alternate head with some more King Kong text, and then some NECA branding. And then moving to the back of the packaging, we have some more product shots. So pretty much this box is covered in product shots. We have the King Kong text right there on the upper left. We have King Kong pounding his chest. And then we have more of a surprise look, I guess. At the top, we just have the King Kong text. It says ages 14 and up. And at the bottom, we have the direction and development. We have the sculpt, paint, photography, and packaging. So shouts out to the team for making this possible. All right, guys, so that was a quick look at the packaging. So now let's move this to the side and take a closer look at King Kong. So here's the NECA King Kong outside of the packaging, and I'm really enjoying the sculpt. I think the attention to detail, the sculpt work, and just the overall aesthetics of the figure, I find really well done. The only recommendation I would have for any NECA figure really is just to either warm up those joints via hot water or blow dryer if you can, because some of those figures have a tendency to break. Now this figure in particular feels pretty solid. My joints right out of the packaging have been moving pretty freely, but that's just my personal copy, so I recommend that for anybody who's getting a NECA figure. I know it's an unfortunate thing, but it is what it is at this point. But yeah, this King Kong in general, I feel like it is just based on a freestyle artwork. I don't think it's based on anything specific, as it's just labeled King Kong. It's not from Skull Island or any other specific movie. Otherwise, I feel like we would have had that stamped on the packaging, but it is nice overall. I feel like the head that is on it right now that comes out of the packaging is based on more of a 1930s inspired King Kong. But the alternate head is more of just an aggressive King Kong, so that's pretty cool that we get that option. And I think King Kong itself is a public domain, so I feel like a lot of companies have the chance to make King Kong figures, but if you want to get into a specific movie, then you have to go through the licensing. But correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not entirely sure. So overall, this is my first King Kong figure in my personal collection. I know that Mezco has put some things out, and other brands like SH Figure Arts, or did an import company make a King Kong figure? I'm not sure, but I really enjoy this figure. He's nice and girthy. He's about 8 inches tall. We'll get into some comparisons a little later, but I think the attention to detail looks really great. And this is him just standing up just as straight as possible. I think I can move this joint back a little bit, but he'll tilt, so he's got some good balance there. And just taking a closer look at him, here is a closer look at the 1930s inspired head sculpt. I mean, that's my personal opinion, but you can argue with me in the comments. Yeah, so he has some nice gash marks right here. He has a gash mark right here at the upper eyebrow. He's got some nice expressive bulged out eyes and a nice white paint with the pupil in there. Yeah, it looks really good. And then he has some nice detail right here in the mouth. It's in a nice glossy paint with some nice washes and some tan for his teeth. And I love the gloss that's popping off the light on the lips, and that just adds that next level of realism to it, so that's pretty cool. And then right here, he has some more scratches on his cheek. And then moving into the chest, he has some nice gash marks in there. So obviously this is a battled up King Kong. He's been through some stuff, so that's pretty interesting. I love the aesthetics on it. Then he has some nice gray paint right here on the chest, and then it fades into like a blackish brown for the fur. So it has a nice wash on it, and that carries on throughout the whole figure, through the joints. So it looks pretty cool. Moving down to the very long arms, which looks really nice. Very elongated arms and some kind of short legs. I mean, not very short to squat, but like, I mean, it makes sense, you know, for King Kong. So, and there goes the sculpt work in the joints. Now it's obviously not in the joint itself, but like this outer joint that NECA does, so that's pretty cool. Then here's the fists that come on him in the packaging. And there is his King Kong feet. Sculpt work at the bottom, and then he has 2 peg holes. Before we take a look at the articulation, we're going to look at some of the accessories that he comes with. Alright, for his first accessory, he comes with this alternate head sculpt, and it's more of a yelling face, more of a growling face, and it has the nice fangs and just his whole mouth, kind of just a more aggressive nature, and the teeth and just the gums on this one just stand out a lot more than the other one that he came with. The eyes are a lot more aggressive. He has a lot more of a brow up here sculpted at the top. So definitely a lot more animated, and he carries over some of those same scratches. The only one that I recognize that he didn't still have on him from the other sculpt that he had was the one on the eyebrow up here. But the one on the cheek and the one right here on the mouth are shared with both head sculpts. And so just bringing in that other head sculpt real quick, this is the one that comes with inside the packaging already on him. And so right there you can see the difference in the mouth and how more aggressive the one is on the left versus the one on the right. And then there's the eyebrow scratch that I was talking about earlier, and they pretty much carry the same scratches overall though. And another thing I noticed on this one was just the more brown paint that's carried up on here versus the one that he comes with right here. It's more dulled down, so he has a lot more brown paint. That could just be my personal copy, so let me know if yours is different. And just the more pointed up skull that he has on this one versus this one is a little bit more rounded. So there's the differences that I've seen in those. So let's take a look at the other accessories that he comes with. Okay guys, and for his final set of accessories, he just comes with this alternate pair of open hands. So that's unfortunate. I wish he would have came with at least a miniature figurine to hold in his hand, or maybe a smashed car, or just something to just throw in the packaging, kind of like an ultimate style NECA figure that would have come out. So I'm hoping they re-release this guy with a bunch of accessories. That would be awesome. But for now, we just have these open hands, and I have them already on the figure. So they're very nice though. I love the texture within the palm that he has right here, and just the way that they're posed looks really nice, just to give him some more character. So he can be throwing things or grabbing things. So they'll look pretty good, and they're pretty easy to just pop in and out. Here's a look at the fist. They're just on this simple kind of Marvel Legends style peg. So that's pretty cool. And so that's pretty much it for his final accessories. So let's take a quick look at the articulation, and then we'll get into some size comparisons. Alright guys, so just diving into his articulation for the head, and both heads share the same range. He can move up about that far, and he can move down about this far. He can tilt a little bit to the left and to the right. So it looks pretty good, and then it can just turn around pretty much. So when you have him in a more downward pose, he can move up, which looks pretty cool. And for his arms, up here we have a hinge that can move up about that far. Pretty long arms. And then bringing that down, he obviously has the 360. He has the upper bicep swivel. He has the double jointed NECA style pegs up here. So those move pretty good. Again, they're pretty tight, so just be careful with that. And they move in a little bit over 90 degrees. And then both hands have the hinge and the swivel in them. So that's pretty good. Works out. Works perfectly, no complaints. And then for the upper ab articulation right here, he has a nice diaphragm joint. So utilizing that, he can move side to side. And then he can move downward about that much. And then he can move back quite a bit. So that's pretty good if you want to get him in a more hunched pose. And then moving here to the hips, he has some nice ratchet joints going in and out. So going upwards, they click. One, I don't know how many clicks that is. It's very clicky. So that's pretty good just to hold the weight of the figure. And then moving out, they click too. So that's pretty good, that works out. And then he does have an upper thigh swivel. And this little lower body piece is made out of rubber, so it does not get in the way. It's very flexible, so that's pretty good. And then moving here to the knees, he does have the double jointed knees. So that looks pretty good. He can bend about that far. And then moving that back up, he does have the peg going up and down a little bit. It's just very stiff, so be careful. And then he does have a nice ankle rocker. So this guy is very articulated, very flexible, and the joints feel pretty good for a NECA figure. So I am very satisfied with that. So let's move into some quick size comparisons, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this figure. Alright guys, so here's our first size comparison. I just threw in the Marvel Legends Beast. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys out there are familiar with this figure. Just to give you guys a quick reference, I know these guys are way out of scale with each other, but this is the only other furry figure that I had in my collection, so apologies there. But this is just to give you guys a quick reference. So let's move into another quick comparison. Alright guys, so here's my second comparison. This is the Marvel Legends Walgreens exclusive Silver Centurion Iron Man. I just recently reviewed this, so if you guys want to check that out, the link will be up on the right. But this is a quick little reference that I wanted to throw in there, because I was thinking, man, it would be pretty cool just to use this King Kong as a normal gorilla figure, or just a regular ape, to throw in with some Marvel Legends crossovers. So not a bad idea if you just wanted to pick this up to have a monkey in your collection, or maybe to go with some of the Planet of the Apes figures that NECA put out a while back. I think that'll fit in pretty nicely. So let's get a final comparison in, and then we'll finish up this review. Alright guys, so this is my final comparison. I just threw in the Hot Wheels RWD Porsche, one of my favorite cars, one of the few Hot Wheels in my personal collection, but I thought this was a cool scale. I think that'll work out if you want to get some awesome photography with this guy. So that was just my final comparison. So let me close out my thoughts on this figure. Alright guys, so overall, I really like this figure. I think it's an awesome addition to my personal collection. I don't think this is a figure for everybody out there, but I would highly recommend if you're a King Kong or Godzilla fan, or if you just like monsters or apes. I think NECA killed it on this figure with the articulation setup, with the sculpt work, with the level of detail. The few accessories that he has works for him. I wish he would have came with a smaller human figure, or maybe a tattered up car, just something to give it some more element to it, you know. But I definitely think they will release this figure maybe in a bigger packaging with some more accessories. That would be awesome. But overall, I think it's worth a pickup, and if you guys see it at your local Target or Walmart, I would scoop it up. So with that being said, I just want to thank you guys for liking this video, subscribing, follow me on my Instagram at jdilla320, and I'll catch you guys later with another action figure review. Peace.